clearly gotten out of hand now, yes. But it was worth the risk, I assure you.
Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today with my review for Doom. This was my most anticipated game of the first half of 2016, and I'm excited to finally bring you guys my full thoughts on the entire package. I've spent a lot of time with the game in both the campaign, multiplayer, and snap map, and I'm going to give you guys every bit of detail you need on whether or not you should pick this game up. So I've noticed a lot of people jump to conclusions in the comments before I can even finish my review, so I just want to start off by saying that I feel this is a worthy revival of the Doom franchise. But it does have a number of flaws, which I will point out during this review, but for the most part, this is a very fun game. And that's kind of the focus of Doom. It's fun, right? That's what everyone's saying. It's fun, fun, fun. You just want to kill stuff, shoot stuff. Doesn't really matter about the story. It's just all about the action and the gameplay. And I totally get that, but I feel like when they're using the excuse to modernize the game franchise, and also when you look at Wolfenstein: The New Order and how they made BJ all of a sudden this character that you can totally care about when I don't think anyone expected that, I kind of expected the same sort of treatment when the Doom revival came around. And I think that's fair to say because they're very old franchises that have both recently been redone in new light. So what I want to start off with is the campaign, which I thought was one of the more pleasant surprises in Doom. I personally didn't know what to expect once I heard that it was about 15 or so hours long. It took me about 12 to get through personally, but when I heard that length, I was wondering, are they just gonna have us killing and shooting stuff in this campaign endlessly? Because I know that was fun back then, but I don't know how that would go over now, so I was kind of a little concerned with the campaign at first. But when I started off, man, what a strong start this campaign was. The intro is fantastic, gets you right into the action, and even the underlying mystery between Mars and Hell and what's going on there is actually surprisingly interesting. The game has its own dossier, which is full of lore if you actually care, and it does give some interesting backstory to what exactly is going on here with the Lazarus Project, why Argent Energy is so important for Mars and Earth, why you were created, who is who in the story. It is definitely a very interesting start to the game. I'd say about 2/3 of the campaign is incredibly fun and refreshing. There's so many new mechanics being introduced. It's always throwing some new weapon your way, and then they have all these systems built around it, and it just becomes a very deep campaign. By that, I mean, for example, that you'll find a weapon. Each weapon has 2 weapon mods usually, and then on top of that, you can have this upgrade tree inside the weapon mods, and then the challenge at the end when you finally fully upgrade them to get a special bonus for that weapon mod, and you can do that, like I said, for basically each weapon. And they're constantly throwing new weapons at you. You also get these things called weapon upgrade points, which you can get multiple ways, either through a combat rating in the mission itself, where as you gradually kill enemies in unique ways, you get more points and get those weapon upgrade points. There's also side objectives inside the levels themselves to complete certain challenges to give you, once again, more weapon upgrade points. Plus it's Doom, so naturally there's a ton of Easter eggs. You can find little figures around the level. You can find the old school Doom levels as well. But as I said, it starts strong. For most of the campaign, it is strong, but the last, I'd say, third of the game just tapers off. I streamed the last 4 hours of the Doom campaign, and a lot of my viewers know that I just wasn't pleased with it at all. Now, I get it. Do not get me wrong, because I have played the original Doom way before this, and I get that it is not a story-focused game. I know it's all about demons and stuff, but I still think at the end of the day, it was still a lackluster campaign to finish off. The whole campaign is spent throwing new ideas at you, and then for the last 4 or 5 hours of it, they throw nothing new at you, and then you find out why you were really invested in the campaign. The gameplay, which is an absolute blast, and what it does is an understandable idea. It gives you all these toys to play with, all these mechanics to understand. They don't want to throw too much your way or else you might get overwhelmed, and then all of a sudden they just kind of cut you dry, let you loose, have fun with all your toys in the game, and it makes sense. But for me personally, I was kind of being driven by that progression because there was so much progression in the campaign, and all of a sudden it just kind of stopped for me. I liked constantly picking up new weapons, trying them out and stuff. I liked constantly trying to upgrade them, but quite honestly, when push came to shove at the end of the campaign, when it was done throwing new stuff at me, I really wasn't as interested. And I think it would be unfair to give this story a free pass, especially because it ends on one of the worst and most predictable cliffhangers ever. But regardless, the campaign is solid. You'll have a fun time with it. There's lots to do in it. There's lots of secrets. It is an interesting mystery, and finding out what exactly you are, how you came to be, all that stuff is absolutely absolutely fun traversing between Mars and Hell. It's a good time, it's a beautiful game, but it's definitely not the best campaign I've played. But it shouldn't deter you from the game at all. I just really did not like the last third of the game at all. It was very monotonous and boring. How about that multiplayer though? That's something that a lot of people were excited for, and in the multiplayer beta, there was a lot of shit being talked about Doom, unfortunately. And for me, I think it suffers kind of the same issue that the campaign did. It throws everything it has at you in like your first 20 levels. I think you're done unlocking actual guns and items in the game at level 18. After that, it's all just random items, and that's literally what they call it. You get random unlocks after each match, which it sounds awesome, right? You're getting these new armor, you're getting new colors and stuff, and all you're doing is customizing and changing stuff in between matches, but it kind of loses its flavor and sizzle a little bit over time because it's all randomized. I would have much rather appreciated a challenge system and unlocking special, unique armor sets in-game to kind of show off my skill instead of having it being randomly decided and mixing and matching different armor parts. But I will say this much, there is a lot of good progression in the multiplayer in the sense that you will basically level up every single match. But I just personally don't see the longevity. I see a lot of cool game modes. Freeze tag is fun. It's basically like search and rescue from Call of Duty. I think it adds a layer of strategy to a Doom game that's all about shooting stuff. But there is some balance issues, like the chain gun in multiplayer is absolutely overpowered. If you and your team all go chain guns and just start shooting at the same people at the same time, they're done. Their health will just gone. But I also noticed that it is a little bit skill based, where I found myself not being outgunned as often by that chain gun because I was very good with the burst rifle in the multiplayer. But like I said, it suffers the same thing as the campaign, where it starts off strong, you're like, holy crap, there's so much, and then it begins to taper off over time. And it's not like there's not a lot in the multiplayer. There is a lot in the multiplayer. It's just that they want to give it to you all so fast, and there's not that good pacing where it just hits you with everything, and then all of a sudden you're just kind of left not unlocking anything afterwards, which kind of stinks. But I get why they did it. You don't want to grind to unlock these things, but I figured they could have used a little bit more spacing out because, like I said, they hit you with all these weapons at once, and you kind of don't try them out all that much, especially given that it's obvious which ones are OP. So it removes a bit of the fun grind from the game. But still, it's a fun multiplayer mode that is definitely a blast to play online with friends. And lastly is Snap Map, which I feel is the most pleasant surprise of the entire package because it's a cool expansion of the game that's fun for both a creator and a player, because they have tons of playlists in the game. You can pick special maps and show your friends. Obviously, you can create your own. There's a very nice tutorial mode that is not confusing whatsoever. It is so helpful. But like I said, I really like how there's specific playlists, like there's a co-op playlist, there's obviously a multiplayer playlist. It's stuff like this that I really like and appreciate because it adds longevity to the game. One of the weird complaints that my friends and I were making was it would be kind of cool if Doom was co-op, and there is a co-op playlist so you can have all these survival modes and see all these cool little levels that people built, so you kind of get your own co-op campaign in a weird way through the Snap Map, through playing people's different levels that they've created with a co-op focus, and it is a lot of fun. Me personally, I'm not a builder in games unless it's like, for example, a settlement mode in Fallout 4. I like doing that type of stuff, but when it comes to multiplayer map creation, it's never really been my forte. But still, when I goofed around with it a little bit, it's definitely intuitive, it's definitely a deep system, but it's also one that you can have a lot of fun with and get into very easily. So at the end of the day, is this a $60 purchase that you are willing to make? It's very hard to fully recommend this game because, like I said, everything in the game starts strong but kind of starts to wear thin, and I feel for a longevity purchase, something that you want to get your full $60 out of, it is a little bit difficult to recommend from my personal experience because I had a blast with the campaign, I had a blast with multiplayer, but over time I kind of lost interest because of the fact that there wasn't enough to keep me going. I still finished everything and put a lot of time into everything, but it really wasn't enough where I can't see myself coming back to Doom all too often down the line. What I will say though is that this game manages to do one thing that I think is a focus a lot of games need to take nowadays. It's just focus on the fun, right? Just have a good time. Shoot stuff, kill stuff, epic music. It has it all. It's a Doom game, for God's sake. So yeah, it is absolutely a good time. I definitely think this is a game that you should play, but I don't think $60 would justify it. It's most certainly a AAA game, hands down, with the graphics, all the content it offers you. But in the end of the day, I feel like I can't see a lot of people getting the longevity out of it. But when it goes on a sale, like $50, $40, definitely, man, definitely. And obviously, over time with the Steam sales and stuff, you'll notice that the price will probably drop a lot on this game because I think a lot of people are going to want to play this game. It is definitely going to be, I think, a favorite amongst fans, but still, for me personally, $60, I'd say that you might want to hold on to your money for just a little bit, but definitely play this game. It's a fun time. And that is my full review for Doom, finally. Took me forever to grind through this game, man. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. The links are, as always, in the description. Check out SugarBomb.com, the place by Bethesda fans for Bethesda fans. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.